Good evening, everyone. This is RW's old man. It's about 2:30 in the morning, and yeah, maybe I could be asleep, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give you guys a random ass daily match review. Um, got a good one here. This is AJ Styles versus Dusty Rhodes, and gotta say some pre-match thoughts. I mean, when this was proposed to me by Dylan, or it was definitely interesting. You got two different generations here in the ring facing each other. To give you some perspective, AJ Styles was born in 1977, and Dusty Rhodes was like maybe 8 years into his career by then, just to give you some perspective. I think Dusty Rhodes was a year or two away from winning his first NWA World Title back in like 1979 or somewhere around there. So that just tells you how much of a generation gap there is between these two guys. Like I said, I thought this match is going to be interesting. I'm thinking that Dusty is going to be his usual charismatic self. He'll gesture to the crowd a lot. Maybe he'll probably fight from underneath since AJ Styles is the heel, and AJ would do a lot of the bumping. And AJ would perform like his typical moveset would be the high flying stuff, and honestly, I'm not sure if I'm gonna like this match or not. But or I'm sorry, I wasn't sure if I was gonna like this match or not. Turns out it's pretty damn good. So let's get to the intros here. So the setting is we're at the NWA TNA pay-per-view number 65. This is when they were doing weekly pay-per-views. They hadn't started doing anything like Victory Road or Bound for Glory yet. And this is October 8th, 2003. Obviously, it's the main event. And it is for the NWA World Heavyweight title. As they're making their intros here, before the intros, TNA loves doing their tail of the tape. I've watched a bunch of Impact pay-per-views with my boys from RW Podcasts, and we've reviewed about maybe I'd say 8 to 9, maybe 10 between Impact and old TNA shows and stuff like that, and they do it. These tail of the tapes do add a main event flair like they would for boxing and MMA. So I actually dig those. The stories of this match. There's a couple here that I'm going to talk about as this review goes on. Styles' humiliation of Dusty Rhodes led to this match. This is what was being shown on the broadcast, or I'm sorry, on the video that I watched. I'm not sure what Styles did to humiliate Dusty, which would lead Dusty to want to have this match. It's never really brought up specifically. The second storyline is our Vince Russo and AJ Styles on the same page. And the third and lastly, or probably more importantly to Dusty Rhodes anyway, is that he wants to win his fourth NWA World Title and have maybe last little main event run, maybe a couple months with the belt, and of course why not? I do want to say something about the NWA title here. I grew up with the NWA title. I started watching wrestling in the mid '80s, and so guys like Flair and Race and Rhodes were on top, and to me the NWA title doesn't hold the same weight in 2003 than it did back then. And you had I think it's Mike Tenay on the play-by-play listing off all the former champs, going back to Frank Gotch and Lou Thez and Harley Race and the Briscoes and Terry Funk and Dory Funk and all those guys, and that's great. All those guys are legendary, have a legendary status, but I don't think you can put those two different versions of the NWA title, the old school one till when it got absorbed into World Championship Wrestling versus what it is now. I just don't think it's the same. Don't get me wrong, it's a belt people still want to have, obviously. But as far as I'm concerned, my personal feelings is that these two versions of the NWA are drastically different. Let's see what we got here. So we have the intros. Got to hand it to So Dusty Rhodes comes out and he has this little country music thing going on, and there's female dancers in cages right there by the entrance, and all I could say was TNA, TNA, TNA. Get it? Dusty Rhodes gets a nice pop, and rightfully so. He's a freaking legend in the business, and rest in peace, my friend. Wish I could have met you at some point, but that's the way it goes. AJ's theme and entrance video were really cool. It was they showed a video of AJ performing some moves, he was just a Styles Clash and some 360s. He's jumping off the top rope, and it has a really cool theme song behind it. And now he comes out with a drunk Russo. Russo looks, come on, looks so stupid. I'm not sure what the storyline is here, but apparently Russo is either frustrated with Stlyes or with life, I guess. I don't know. That he's been driven to drink. So he has on this beanie, which is like making his, and he has his hair like over his face, and he's like has a bottle and a baseball bat, and he's accompanied by Trinity. And all I was thinking was like, I just hope Russo doesn't sabotage this match too much. I mean, he's going to get his part in, but I just hope it's not like over the top, because I'm not the biggest fan of Vince Russo. Okay, well, this crowd this crowd starts to chant Dusty chant breaks out as they're getting the intros underway, and so let's get to the match. Oh, and by the way, fuck Russo. Okay, so there's a couple lockups. One time, after one lockup, AJ kicks Dusty Rhodes in the knee, kind of setting him up because Dusty Rhodes really has some knee issues. Another lockup, it gets broken up in the corner. Dusty chants break out again. Again, it's just respect to the man. Another lockup, and AJ again kicks Rhodes' knee. Rhodes responds with chops to AJ. Rhodes grabs AJ by the neck and literally throws him across the ring. Rhodes with a elbow to the back of AJ's head, and AJ falls to the floor. Drunk Russo already starting to make his impact on the match, quote unquote. And he climbs up on the apron. I don't know. He's just throwing his bat around, and like I don't know. It just looks stupid. I don't know. At this point, I'm like, oh come on, don't be an overbooked, overproduced match where he's just going to be at every single moment of the match. And so at this moment, though, Trinity pulls him back down, and let's hope it stays that way. Rhodes chops AJ over the barricade. He chops AJ over a barricade, and then he proceeds to throw AJ into another barricade. This is where the fight begins. Both of these guys are fighting out amongst the crowd, in the public, if you will. Dusty chant again breaks out because there's about 30 people surrounding them, and they just got this whole thing marked out, and they're just killing each other. I mean, AJ punches Rhodes about 8 times right in a row, and Rhodes gets busted open. Both of these guys are stiff and snug. It looks really good. It looks believable. These punches don't look fake. And Rhodes is busted open, like his whole half of his face. Just imagine Dustin Rhodes in his match with Cody Rhodes. Imagine if half his face was not as bloody, and you'll get Dusty Rhodes in this match. Rhodes dodges a flying fist from AJ. Rhodes throws a chair at AJ. I don't think any wrestlers should throw a chair at anybody. It doesn't look like it hurts. So if you're going to do something with a chair, why don't you just swing it, hit him in the shoulder or something? I mean, throwing chairs just looks stupid. I'm sorry if I'm being negative now, but this match gets really good later. So, like I said, these little things I see at the beginning, but this match picks up. So, don't fret don't fret because I'm sounding negative right now. AJ keeps after the cut on Rhodes' forehead. AJ's just being vicious here. He's just hammering Rhodes in the forehead, and it looks like he's a badass. And there's hasn't been one legit wrestling move yet since they've been pretty much fighting. Back in the ring, AJ again goes after Rhodes' forehead. AJ is just continuing to be relentless on the forehead, and Rhodes is definitely freaking bleeding like a stuck pig right now. Rhodes recovers and hits a bionic elbow. Rhodes with punches to AJ. AJ kicks Rhodes in the back, kind of like the yes kicks. AJ with a reverse chinlock. And as this chinlock progresses, Dusty chant starts to come up from the crowd, the typical spot where the babyface fights him underneath, and Rhodes eventually starts to hulk up, and eventually he breaks the chinlock. This is a weird spot, so just bear with me here. So Rhodes has Irish whips AJ. AJ goes off the ropes and ducks a lariat, and then comes back off the ropes on the other side of the ring, and does a crossbody to Rhodes. But Rhodes doesn't take the bump. He just falls over on his knees and then falls on his back. Don't get me wrong. I don't expect Rhodes to take any bumps in this, but I would imagine one bump would have been okay. But I don't know how Rhodes was doing in 2003. Probably wasn't well. Either way, AJ goes for the crossbody, almost breaking the big man rule, because if Rhodes would have caught him, he would have broke the big man rule. And Rhodes kind of falls over, and AJ gets a 2 count. AJ kicks Rhodes while Rhodes is on the mat, and then more punches, and AJ then performs, hits Rhodes in the forehead about 3 or 4 more times, just going right after that forehead. AJ AJ misses a 360 from the top rope, and in the process hurts his knee. Rhodes goes right after the knee. He takes AJ over to the ring post and smashes AJ's knee into the ring post a few times. Russo is bothering the announcers, and again, fuck Russo. Rhodes applies the figure 4 leg lock to AJ. It didn't look good. It looked like he was like pushing his. It looked like Rhodes was just using his bottom of his foot to push AJ's leg into his shin bone, like he's supposed to do. That's what the pressure point is. Where the pressure point is. Usually, you have your whole leg on top of the other guy's leg, and you're using the back of your knee to put the force on the other on your opponent's leg. But it didn't look right. But AJ either way is selling at a boss. And he's writhing in pain. He's grabbing the referee, trying to not tap out. And in the process of grabbing the referee, he throws the ref out of the ring. The ref takes a bump to the outside. While the referee is outside the ring, AJ taps out, and Rhodes thinks he won. Rhodes thinks he has won, so he releases the figure 4. While Rhodes is looking for the referee, Russo hands AJ a bat, and AJ proceeds to hit Rhodes in the knee with the bat. AJ applies the figure 4 to Dusty Rhodes. With help from Russo and the ropes, AJ forces Rhodes to pass out from the pain. The referee counts out Dusty Rhodes, and AJ Styles wins the match. And luckily for us, the video cuts off right before Russo, who had grabbed a mic, gets in the ring. And that's when the video ended. This match was not what I expected. It was a match/fight, and definitely, like I said, it was not what I expected. The fight portion was brutal. Like I said, both these guys were stiff and snug at each other. They didn't hold back, and AJ Styles came out looking like an ass kicker when he busts open Rhodes with these 8 straight stiff shots. Looked really good. They get back in the ring, and the match portion was good. They obviously worked around Rhodes not being able to take any bumps, not being able to do anything more physical than just walking around the ring. And in case nobody noticed, there was only like 5 legit wrestling moves either performed or attempted. And those moves were the Rhodes bionic elbow, AJ's reverse chinlock, AJ's attempted 360, and both of the figure 4s. Other than that, it was mostly punch, kick, all that just brawling kind of wrestling, or whatever you want to call it. And that was actually pretty good, because this was a storyline-centric match to begin with. And there's no sense in trying to overbook a match with lots of spots when all this was going to be was a fight. And Dusty Rhodes wants revenge for being humiliated. Like I said, we don't know specifically what AJ Styles did to humiliate Rhodes. Although it's not quite sure. I'm not quite sure if Rhodes got his goal here, because he did lose the match and he did pass out to the figure 4. The second storyline was Russo and Styles, whether they could work together or not. They sure did. And the other storyline was Rhodes was looking to get his 4th NWA title, and obviously he did not do that. The booking in this match was spot on. There was no way around working with Dusty Rhodes in a way. Like, he couldn't do any, running the ropes too much. He obviously physically couldn't do it, or they would have, because Rhodes is a friggin' stud. So he could, if he could have done it, he would have. And so the booking was excellent. So they just had a fight, and this style of booking, where it was a storyline centric, not necessarily a spots. It hid everybody's weaknesses and it emphasized everybody's strengths, and that's excellent. Good job, guys. AJ's quickness was versus Rhodes' charisma, and obviously AJ just was like friggin' vicious too. Showed off a lot of his will to win. He went right after that forehead over and over again, relentless. And I guess I have to give some props to the booking with Russo. He wasn't overbearing. It could have been a lot worse. I'm just not the biggest Russo fan, and I don't know why he had to be drunk in this match. And I'm just glad he didn't make a fool of the match and make a fool of himself and book himself into the finish somehow, other than helping Styles win. And Yeah, this match was not what I expected. I was thinking that Styles would bump for Rhodes the whole match, and then Rhodes would kind of get a fluky win. Maybe I wasn't sure what to expect. Overall, I give this match a 9 out of 10. Very well done. Like I said, the storylines were great. The booking of the match was spot on. I suggest anybody who's a wrestling fan to watch this. You'll get everything you need. Selling, good stories, and execution of said stories. The booking was good. They Rhodes did not look at was not told to do anything he couldn't do. So he looked like a guy who was a valiant fighter. He was fighting from underneath. He just couldn't escape the figure four because of the bat to the knee. Yeah, good stuff. 9 out of 10. Good job, guys. All right. So there's going to be a little surprise. I'm sorry, not a surprise. There's going to be another. I got another one tomorrow, and I'm not going to divulge what the match is. I already found out what it is, and I'm going to tell you it's going to be interesting. So I hope you guys listen to this tomorrow, and have a good night. I'm going to bed. See ya.